Today, we are here demonstrating Bazzite. That is a Linux gaming image designed to bring the best of Linux gaming to all of your devices. I'll let Noel introduce me.
Yes, so this is Kyle Gospo. He has been modding source games since a wee lad. He's a community Linux engineer at Microsoft. He is addicted to Deadlock, or is that me?
That's you.
No, that's me. What are you all about? Oh yeah, ask him for some swag, and he's the founder of Bazzite. He's Mr. Bazzite, as I like to call him.
Good luck finding me, though. I look like 200 penguins. I blend right in. All right, and my partner here is Noel Miller. He is not a dog. I know it looks otherwise. Core contributor at Bazzite and Universal Blue. Our installer would not exist without this man, so say thanks. Technical account manager at Red Hat. I appreciate that. He enjoys spending time with his family and pets, and he is the one who's addicted to Deadlock. I will survive the accusation. Thank you. So, why are we here, right? We're here to build the future of Linux gaming together, and I feel that now is our chance, okay? Microsoft is dropping support for Windows 10 here very shortly, and if you check Steam's own charts for what operating systems are in use on Steam, you will find Windows 10 makes a huge portion of that. Those users will have to go somewhere. They can't stay on 10. Linux has also moved into new markets. We have gaming tablets. We have gaming handhelds from and Linux has a place there. So, what is all this about, right? Bazzite at its core is an example of a community that used to mod video games coming together to mod entire operating systems. The same people that used to make, your favorite Half-Life mod, your favorite Titanfall 2 mod can now take custom images, thanks to Universal Blue, if you saw that previous talk, and turn them into experiences or appliances, making things like these handhelds not only functional, but highly optimized and highly customizable. Bazzite, by design, is ready to use, meaning a new user who's never touched Linux before, Windows user, can go right on ahead and install it and be up and running within 20 minutes. Steam comes pre-installed, all the drivers in it are pre-installed. It is a no configuration, no package installation experience. It's also convergent, right? I mentioned all this different hardware. The beauty of it is you have the same UI on every piece of hardware. I have KDE or GNOME on my tablet, KDE or GNOME on my handheld. I have it on my projector in my living room, and I have it on my desktop. It's the same everywhere. It's also bulletproof. So what I mean by bulletproof is it's atomic. Every update moves you to a brand new functioning image that is tested and built in GitHub. That guarantees you a level of stability that is hard to get anywhere else. And if there is a problem, you can simply roll back. You can do so from the boot screen or from the command line, right? GitHub, in their container registry, stores images for, 200 days?
Yeah, it's 90 days, I believe, but
we have it
maxed
them
out. 200 days, yeah.
You can pick any date in that range and just move to that image. So if I feel that my NVIDIA driver at home, right, ran better a month ago, no problem. I can use the image from a month ago. There's nothing stopping me from pinning it and staying on it. It also ships with Steam Gaming Mode. So in addition to them all running the same desktop environment, they can all run the same beautiful Steam UI you know and love. And that means you can turn all of this different hardware into gaming consoles. I think that's huge, right? These are true appliances that you can just hand people and not have to maintain. We rely on a tool called Handheld Daemon. That's something that we developed in-house. Basically, that's our handheld device controller. It's written in Python, meaning all of it's done in user space where we can iterate rapidly. And it provides TDP control on obscure hardware like handhelds. It provides all of the extra button support on all these different input methods they use. And it also gives us the ability to rapidly bring on new hardware. We'll talk about that more later. So, channeling talking heads, how did I get here? Bazzite has very humble origins. I mean, what you see here is everything I could piece together from 2 years ago. This is the Titanfall 2 North Star Discord. We have the very earliest inkling of an idea here in the top left. I wanted to see if I could throw SteamOS in DistroBox. I did it. It sucked. I threw it away. 2 months later, though, I had this idea. I saw, where'd he go? George Castro's videos. He was doing OCI containers of Fedora Silverblue.
We see you, George.
Can't hide back there for long. And I felt, okay, maybe I can take this concept and I can apply it to SteamOS. I can take all the SteamOS packages, port them to Fedora, throw them in an OCI container, and have it. And then about a few months later, I know they say don't meet your heroes. I did. Turns out he's really cool. He brought me into the Universal Blue Discord, and Bazzite became an official Universal Blue project. From there, because I never intended this to blow up into what it did, right? It was the same concept as putting it in DistroBox. I just wanted a weekend project. But being in Universal Blue meant eyes, and people came, they contributed, and they showed me I really had something here. And that's how this project started, right? It's an accident that blew up into one of the largest new projects in Linux right now. That's amazing. If we could, please, can we get a round of applause for George? It's actually his birthday.
Woo!
Happy birthday, George. Woo! So, milestones, right? We're still a pretty new project. There's only about 2 years of history here. You can see, between joining Universal Blue and, or Universal Blue being born in our first commit, it's only a short jump. We joined Universal Blue not much long after that, and we had a 1.0 release a few months after that. All these extra eyes really do lead to better development. From there, we were the first distro to support the ROG Ally X. I'm very proud of that. A lot of kernel modifications from all over our community went into making that happen. More recently, we had the year of the Linux gaming desktop. So for those that didn't see it, Framework did a 2.0 launch event for their hardware. They actually showcased Bazzite and Playtron on their Framework desktop. That's a major announcement from a hardware manufacturer. I don't think that's happened recently outside of Valve with their own hardware. And of course today, 5,000 and I think that number's out of date, 5,500 commits later, we're here at scale. Thank you. So, bring you back to our previous talk. We have one model for the Linux desktop at Universal Blue, or the only thing immutable about Universal Blue is our will. I know that's a lot of buzzwords here, but the main thing is we try to shy away from the word immutable. Nothing about this is immutable. It's image-based. It's infinitely modifiable. And it's simply bringing standards that have existed in Linux servers or Linux enterprise to the desktop. This is cloud-native standard. It's as Linux as it gets. So, I have to warn you, right? If you came here to see an hour of Bazzite, I must disappoint you. I'm far more interested in your projects or the ones you haven't started yet than you are in mine. We're going to cover all the lessons I learned over the last 2 years here so that you can build the next Bazzite and I can sit in the audience and watch you up here. So, my first bit of advice, right? Be cloud native. What does that mean, right? As I already mentioned, it means being industry standard. It's everything under the sun in Linux is already cloud native. We're just bringing it to the desktop and to all these fun devices where it belongs. It means being approachable to new contributors. So part of cloud native is having a properly functioning code of conduct and having an open, welcoming community. A lot of our top contributors are people who did not feel welcome at other projects, and we've done very, very well to make sure they're happy here. Also, another important note is the majority of Bazzite's contributors have never contributed to Linux before, right? Like, we're appealing to gamers, we're appealing to normal people, and we get a lot of them coming in to make changes, which drives growth of everything we're doing here. That's huge.
Wait, are you calling me abnormal?
Promised you I'm not. All right, so last thing is, community focused, and it's a lot of the same thing, right? Bring in new people, make sure they're happy, make sure they're welcome, and keep things flowing. To power that, we use Bazzite. Bazzite is this wonderful product that originated at Red Hat, but is now part of the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, so it's as open as it comes. Bazzite for us means less configuration drift, right? Every single image that we update you to is a known good image. You just chunk along to the next well-tested thing. It also means upgrade reliability for that very same mechanism. It puts us in the industry standard because this is used all over the place. And it provides us infinite customization. There'll be a demo of that later. It's not a live demo because we've learned our lesson, but you'll see it. And lastly, the cool thing is it's just a normal container. This is the same Docker container file that many of you are already used to. The only difference is we're adding a kernel. Just add water. Why do we go black? Seems like Figma's having a bad day. Maybe the Wi-Fi in this room died. Let's see. Gone in airplane mode. We'll be fine. There it is. So next piece of advice, right? Give your users what they want. FlatHub it's a hot topic in some circles. I don't think it should be. This is one of the best things to happen to Linux in the last decade. It provides a stable, secure, and functioning repository for every application you could possibly ask for. It also, more importantly, provides economical stability to developers. FlatHub is about to launch a payment program so that OSS developers can actually get money for their applications directly through FlatHub. So that means all the, yeah! Woo! I can finally pay for GIMP. It's also developer-focused and developer-run, right? If I'm an application packager, I am fully in control of my package, and that's on every distro FlatHub is a part of. Every other solution puts other people in charge of packaging, and mistakes can happen along the way. With FlatHub, I know it's my work that's going to end up on the actual user's experience. Lastly, it's a better experience for your users, right? One cool thing about FlatHub over most other things, it's a one-click button install. Not even Windows has that in most cases these days. It also gives you a layer of sandboxing, and more importantly, it gives you cleanliness in your config files, right? Everything in FlatHub is sort of containerized into a .var directory. If I delete a package, I'm deleting all of the cruft that came along with it. It's huge.
Please use FlatHub.
Right. In short, you're figuring out the operating system by using this model. Let the pros, the actual developers themselves, figure out the applications. I don't want to have to sit here and fight with packaging. I just want to play Halo, right? That's what this is all about. Woo, woo, woo! Thank you. All right, next piece of advice. Use existing infrastructure. So at Universal Blue and on Bazzite, we use GitHub Actions, Fedora Copper, Cloudflare R2, it's where our ISOs are hosted, and we use repositories from all over the place. We use them from Terra, they're the folks in front here. Use them from Negativo, RPM Fusion, anywhere we can to get high-quality, well-tested packages. Serving 30,000 weekly users, Universal Blue spends less than $100 a month. And it's all thanks to that existing infrastructure. Next one, right? Pragmatism is better for your audience than idealism. All right, so Kyle, you nerd, what does that mean? Basically, don't harm your project to push your ideals, okay? Steam might be a closed source game store. You might want something open. Every gamer on Earth is already using Steam, though. So installing it means you have the highest chance of getting users. Discord, right? Like, I could use Element, and I love Element, it's nice, but there's 150 million active monthly users. I don't think those should be relegated to an unofficial Discord somewhere. Support them. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. It's a free service. And lastly, working hardware, right? This isn't a problem everywhere, but in a gaming distro, right? 70% of the computer market is using Team Green. If you're not shipping Team Green drivers, you're losing 70% of your audience. They might be a pain to deal with, they might be closed source, but supporting them and getting those users now means you might have better drivers in the future, or at least have enough users to get better drivers or direct hardware in the future. Next cool thing, right? If you are cloud native, you're industry standard, so you get industry attention. It's massive. Cloud native brings investment to open source, right? It's one of the biggest paying things in Linux. Cloud native developers are also excellent contributors, right? These are the sort of people you want to come join you and work on your project. And if you're giving them tools they already know and understand, they're just going to want to show up that much more. Last cool thing, skills learned working on Bazzite or working on Universal Blue are applicable to real Linux jobs that pay real money. A huge number of our contributors... At you, it's your doing. A huge number of our contributors are now actually in the industry, thanks to stuff they learned working on this. So all of these different company logos you see here on screen are actual company people that we have working on Universal Blue. These are all our alumni, all across the industry. It is, yeah. Hey, it wouldn't be a gaming distro without it. Next piece of advice, right? Sit on the shoulders of giants. Open source is entirely built on the people that came before. And you should be proud of the work that you pull from other people. Hard work went into making it. Hard work will continue to go into making it. There's no theft here. It's just open embracing of open standards. So, in that light, right, Bazzite very proudly stands on the shoulders of the Fedora project for our wonderful base images, on SteamOS for the entire GameScope model that we use for the console sessions, on Chimera OS for the actual GameScope package we use, on Nobara for being the trailblazer in Fedora gaming. Seriously, so many of our tweaks come from there. On bootc for being the backbone of the project, and on Universal Blue for our base images and really the entire model itself, which is an extension of the Cloud Native Computing Foundation and all of the wonderful work that Red Hat has put into making this happen. So, that is the full and complete model. Noel, do you have any comments you want to make on that before we move on?
No, man. Just slay. Keep going.
All right. So, let's prove the model, right? Why should you do all this? Why listen to me and be cloud native? One big benefit we have from all of this is our device support. We get sometimes negative day device support thanks to this. Part of it goes into HHD. Being implemented in user space means that we can rapidly iterate on what HHD supports. The other half of it is bootc and our GitHub actions. So one real-world example, we had a user with no existing Linux knowledge. They had never built a Linux kernel. They had never installed Linux. But they have a Legion Go S that just broke street date by a week. And they would really like Bazzite on it. It would be really cool. So they reach out to us over Discord. Please support it. And they ask us if, hey, can you support it? Well, we don't have hardware. But we can ship them a custom image. It takes less than 1 hour to build an image and ship it straight to them. One command for them to switch to that custom image. So we do. We give them something that we think might work. And they go back and forth with us on Discord about it. We ship them custom HHD versions because it's just user space Python. One command can move them on to the next testing version in a little Python and virtual environment. And we were able to get Legion Go S support before it broke street day, before it released.
Please clap. That's amazing.
Thank you. So, quick shout out to all these companies here, from Framework, Lenovo, Ampere, Asus, Retroid, MSI, and GPD, they have all sent us hardware as well. I think that's massive, right? That's kind of rare for Linux community projects, and it's cool that all these manufacturers are genuinely interested in supporting Linux gaming. So they deserve an extra thanks too.
Absolutely.
The next thing we've gotten is explosive growth. So appealing to mainstream gamers means you get mainstream attention. As Universal Blue calls it, we try to appeal to the 96% because the 4% already using Linux are not your growth target. They have been there for the last 30 years. They're not going to change. The chart here shows our weekly user count jumping more than 4 times up to its current of 26,000 users.
Woo!
Thank you. Thank you. Another cool fact is we have 11 million polls out of our GitHub container registry across just the Bazzite images. A poll is anything that does an update or a brand new install, so even that number is wildly up there. The weekly user count is based on updates only. That's Fedora Count Me, and it's anonymized, importantly. I should just mention that. These are our raw Cloudflare numbers. You can tell it's a screenshot because I left in that useless % cache number, but 265,000 unique visitors and 475 terabytes of ISO downloads in just the last 30 days.
Thank you, Cloudflare.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cloudflare.
Is it?
I'm going to not answer that for fear of my safety. The other cool thing that happened, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, is we got attention from Framework. So for their 2.0 launch event, they did a shout out to 2 of the major players in Linux gaming right now for their Framework desktop. This was actually in their keynote. You can go look at the recorded copy, but I think it's amazing to see an open and supportive company like Framework actually interested in this. That's huge.
Finally, the year of the Linux desktop.
It's almost here.
I've been waiting.
This is the year. Don't quote me, though. This is the booth that they gave us as well, just to show. The Framework desktop unit they gave us had pins for both Fedora and Bazzite, so there's more of that open, love there, right? Bazzite doesn't compete with Fedora. It's an extension upon it. It's also given us mainstream attention, right? There's lots of different Linux magazines out there, but appealing to gamers or a more general audience means you get the likes of Ars Technica or Forbes or The Verge talking about you. We've never had an article on Phoronix. We only recently got on to DistroWatch. I think that was last week. But, that's appealing to the 4%, right? Appealing to mainstream is your audience driver. We've gotten a YouTube presence out of all of this as well, right? Gaming's very popular. So we have a Digital Foundry video. I'm like so proud about that. I'm to the moon. I never thought that I'd ever end up on that channel. They're the best. And then also, we've had lots of very fun random videos, right? You have Apple's Stupid Trash Cans, one of my favorite videos on Bazzite, 500,000 views. Same with ETA Prime. He does a video every other day about this project, I feel like, but they push serious numbers because people want to play their games. They don't want to have to deal with, the complicated PC experience on a handheld. It's also given us a lot of community attention. These are just a small splattering of people that we've enjoyed the comments of, but they're out there. They're everywhere. You hop on Reddit, and if it's not someone talking about Bazzite, it's probably someone accusing us of guerrilla marketing. Here's some of the battle stations that users have shared in our Discord. The one on the bottom right is this very cool custom HTPC. Bottom center is a Steam Deck being used as a traditional desktop PC, but it's the top left that I am most excited about. This is one of our contributors' 10-year-old daughter's computers. That is a little girl who is going to grow up playing on Linux.
Woo!
I don't think that's ever happened before. That's massive. So, how can you join in, right? I would like you to build your own. You don't have to use the images I make. You can customize them infinitely. That's part of that cloud-native philosophy I shared earlier. Our images all start with Fedora. Every build pulls whatever the latest images from Fedora are. They get brought into Universal Blue and turned into a base image. From there, they're consumed by Bazzite and turned into a Bazzite image. And now you, as the image maker, can consume Bazzite and make any change that you would like to it.
It's important to note, too, you can use any part of that pipeline. So if you want to make a specific experience that you have in mind that even isn't gaming or whatever it is that you want, you can do that. And that, I think, is what is so amazing about this model.
Yes, so feel free to pull from any part of the chain, of course. Feel free to fork us. You don't have to build from Bazzite. You can simply take over my container file and make your own changes too. Any part of this pipeline is customizable in any way that you feel. The example that we are going to go with today is using what's called the Universal Blue image template. This lets you take another image, consume it, and modify it. So we're going to modify Bazzite today. I'm not doing a live demo because the Wi-Fi's been so spotty. Instead, you got to deal with screenshots, but I'll walk you through it.
He learned his lesson from us.
I'm going to learn someone else's lesson. That's part of the talk. So here's our image template GitHub. I will go ahead and fork it. Very simple. It's all done through GitHub. Once I have my fork, which I have lovingly named Bazzite Scale 22x Demo, I can make my changes. So we'll cut to that. Here's my Sublime merge window. And you can see here what I have done is change the target to Bazzite Deck Stable, which is our KDE image for handheld hardware. And I've made a single line change. I do DNF5 install Plasma Mobile. So that is now a Plasma Mobile Bazzite image, one line change. From there, I commit it. And because it's in GitHub and built with GitHub Actions, it automatically builds that entire image. So here's a small screen cap of that build process showing in highlighted blue there the Plasma Mobile package being added. And so you can check it out for yourself. Here are two QR codes. Left one will take you to the uBlue image template. The right one will take you to the repo I just showed you. So you can go ahead, pull that image down, play with it. It is live on my GitHub and will stay there in perpetuity. I've also left the action enabled, so it will auto-update. So in a month from now, you can go ahead and look at how it broke because we broke something upstream.
That would never happen.
Now, through that same process, we've had some very interesting community attention. I just want to shout out these two projects. Over the last 2 years, and maybe this is a lesson to learn, we have offered other desktop environments. Right now, we only support KDE and GNOME. But I've offered Budgie, and I've offered Cosmic as future targets. I'm one man. I'm slow. I don't support them yet. Cosmic in particular, I'm waiting for stable. But the community, ever hungry, they will make it themselves if you let them. So that same process I just showed you has led to these two. On the left, you have, we're going to call it Phosphor. That is a Hyperland Bazzite image. I didn't even know it existed until last week, but there it is. On the right is Stellarite. That is a Cosmic image. It's built from official System 76 sources with the alpha version of the Cosmic desktop environment on top of everything that we've built. I think it's amazing that it's even on offer, and this is just a small splattering of community projects. There's all sorts of custom Bazzite images out there that I've never seen. So, if you don't want to build a custom image, you'd rather help us out, you can contribute. How are we on time, by the way? We're very good.
29. Yep, we're good.
So, technical or not, open pull requests, right? That can be anything. You could help us with our docs, which we very much appreciate. The guy that wrote our docs did such a good job, they got burnt out and had to stop. They're excellent.
Please help them.
Or if you know code, pop in, change the container file. Let us know if something could be better. We're always open to pull requests. We're not going to be mean to you if we don't accept it. We're going to say thanks regardless. You can also work upstream. So Bazzite pulls from all of these projects here on the right. A contribution to any one of them benefits us. We need help with our first install tool. The one we use right now is called Yafty. That one has unfortunately lost its maintainer. It plays a small part in what Bazzite ultimately is, but an improved version from someone who's interested in doing that UI work would be massive to us. You can help us support more hardware. If you know anything about Python or you're into kernel stuff at all and you have hardware we don't, reach out, talk to us. We would love to see what you have to offer. Any help at all with eliminating installation friction would go a long way too. Right now we rely on Anaconda. It is less than ideal, let's say.
They tell me I wrangle Anaconda, and I think a lot of times it chokes me out.
Yeah, think this guy again, right? Anaconda, as bad as it is, doesn't work at all without his work. Thank you, Noel. So another thing I hear often about open source projects is them having small teams, right? Cloud Native goes a long way in reducing that because a lot of the work that goes into making something like Bazzite, we don't have to do. We get support from Fedora because they're the ones doing all the security patches on their base images, and we get support from all over the industry. We get support from Universal Blue. So our team, it's going to take up multiple slides, is made up of all of these fine people. I want to shout out just a couple of them. You have Antheus. He is the lead maintainer of HHD, and he is the mad scientist responsible for most of the handhelds that we support. You have Jan, who was our original kernel maintainer. Again, numerous Linux gaming improvements came out of them. Let's see. Quick shout out to Brian Kettleson. He was a major part of our original model and all the image maintenance that's gone into it. And Sean there made all the wonderful videos you see when you start Bazzite up for the first time. Wolfie did all of the videos in our documentation that have helped people dual boot Bazzite for the last year and a half. They deserve a huge thanks for that. George, our resident dinosaur guy, we would know nothing about dinosaurs without him, so thank you. Woo! Yep. Pat Connors there is the one who did our documentation. Like I said, they got burnout, but they deserve all the praise. Our documentation's wonderful. And Valerie there is the one responsible for our social media and all the lovely posts that I'm sure you don't want to look at. Bazzite. That's just the core team, of course, too, right? We have over 100 contributors on GitHub, and that number is only going up. The more the merrier. So, in summary, then we get to questions. Cloud Native reduces your development friction, it follows modern standards, and it allows you to focus on only what matters. FlatHub as an application source improves the experience for your end users, and your application developers will thank you. They are finally in control of their packages and not wondering why things are broken downstream. Utilizing existing infrastructure will save you both time and money. As I mentioned earlier, it's $100 a month to run all of this. It's very cheap. Supporting applications and hardware that your users are already using will improve your growth targets and lead to further adoption. That means have an official Discord. It's very handy. Support NVIDIA. Yeah, it might be a pain, but they're 70% of your audience. You have to. And lastly,
got a few gray hairs from working on NVIDIA, so.
Programming's not stressful.
No, not at all.
Lastly, wear your influences and your upstream code sources with pride. Just always remember, we're building on things other people have built, and none of us would be here without them. I want to thank you all for coming to the talk. Thank you very much. Anyway, I hope you're having a great scale. We'll be back next year with probably way more cool stuff to show off and more hardware. We're going to have plenty of time for questions too, so I'll take every question you have, hopefully. And lastly, that QR code there will take you to our website, so feel free to take it out and take a look and check it out.
All right.
I saw that you had support for ARM devices
Yes.
as a goal. Can you speak more to that? Just like any of the challenges that you're foresee going forward with that? Or
So if you go to the show floor right now and go to the ARM booth, you'll find an Ampere workstation with a copy of Bluefin running on it. That's a sister project to this. We're doing something similar for Apple hardware as a first target. So if you go into Bazzite's pull request section, there is a Asahi-based image sitting there to get that fully up and running. I think actually Meta's booth has something very similar, like live, that you can check out. But the main concept is using FEX to emulate x86 on ARM and running everything through that. Early tests are fairly positive. You know, ARM's kind of a complicated landscape, and we're going to slowly support more of it, but Apple's a good first target because there's a lot of people staring at it right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I saw you had the post or the section about looking at an alternative to Anaconda. I'm so sorry. I'm with the OpenSUSE people, and we're actually, it looks like
Find
the
it.
community is going to be killing Yast, our longtime installer, for the past 30 plus years.
Yes.
And there's already a project to replace it, and it's already being used. It might be useful for you guys as well.
I would be very interested to hear from you, for sure.
Would you like the name?
Yes.
Okay, it's on my radar. AGAMA. Agama.
Agama, okay.
Okay, cool.
Fantastic, yeah. If it supports boot C, I mean, definitely. Or if it, could be made to.
So I started using Bazzite about a year ago, right?
Yes.
And one of the problems that I ran into was that it had SE Linux enabled on it. Like,
Yes.
for the most part, it's pretty smooth, right? But SE Linux doesn't play well with certain things, and it can just turn into a total nightmare. So why SE Linux in the first place?
Well, it's part of a standard of security, right? Fedora ships it to
Well,
maintain
usually
a
with
secure...
enterprise servers for the most part, yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
because most people want to use Bazzite as a desktop, right? Like as a general desktop. So
Dinosaur Man might have a word of wisdom.
So not anymore, right? Because I went through all the steps to basically figure out what was going on. But when it came to actually working with stuff with networking in general, Jellyfin was one of the first things that I installed, right? Like back last year. I originally did it just as like an actual like regular RPM install, right? No, yeah. I ended up learning. Yes. Eventually I learned, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of this is transformative, right? Like if you came from a traditional Linux, right, apt-get install nginx. I'm cloud native. It's Docker pull nginx, right? So for a lot of people, it's like you're not installing packages, all the server stuff. It's going to be from Linux server. It's going to be from cgr.dev. It's going to be, so my goal is to take the Linux desktop, kicking, dragging, and screaming through its cloud native journey, like how we did with Kubernetes. We're doing Kubernetes again. Oh no, a lot of YAML, but you know what? It works.
Thank you, George. So, short version, right? SE Linux means you have a secure desktop. I think it's important on desktops. It might be a little less useful on handhelds, but if there is an SE Linux related issue affecting gaming, it's either something that we're open to pull requests for just to make a rule to make sure it doesn't break it, or something that we would go out of our way to fix ourselves. In the past, Half-Life 2 had a bug that would cause it to not play audio with SE Linux enabled. And since the start, we've shipped a rule for SE Linux to resolve that problem.
It's easier to make Red Hat fix it. You give me numbers, we'll make Red Hat fix it.
Hey, that's part of it too, right? Having count me turned on by default and having that magic 30,000 number means when some game developer says, hey, should I turn on Linux support for our anti-cheat, they have a real potential customer base number to go look at to make that economic decision.
So this is kind of like a random question, but I have a Steam Deck, and
Yeah.
the updates are like crazy long. Would would Bazzite like be able to like help those updates go faster? Because I don't even think it's like normal how.
So our updates can take a while, yes. The one cool thing is we have diffed updates. So as often as we update, every update is just the parts that changed and not the entire image. So thanks to that tech, you might have more frequent updates of a smaller size. SteamOS tends to be whole images of the entire system level of the disk that snap along to the next good release.
Also, just to kind of follow up on that question about SE Linux.
Yeah.
We both have Steam Decks, and one of the things I kind of found weird was that they don't have full disk encryption on a mobile device.
We have full disk.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
So I was wondering, like, if they, that's definitely a bonus, and I'm going to be swapping to Bazzite.
Yeah, SE Linux is fully supported, full description is there, and Secure Boot is fully supported. Woo!
Okay, I run Fedora KDE on my laptop, my framework.
Yeah.
So what's the path of least resistance to run this in parallel to dual boot it? Can you say more?
Unfortunately, dual booting with Fedora would not be possible. It's only because both projects use the name Fedora as their EFI path, so they would directly conflict with each other. If you were running the Atomic version of Fedora, so if you're on Fedora Kinoite, then you could switch over to Bazzite in a single console command to give it a try and switch back if you didn't like it in, again, one console command. But from traditional mutable Fedora, I'm afraid a reinstall would be the only path. You can use an external drive to boot it, of course, just to give it a try and see if it's something you want. You're welcome.
As a PC gamer, there's a lot of games out there that use external launchers. Things like Rainbow Six Siege uses Ubisoft Connect. Battle.net itself don't have Linux versions, and
Yep.
the ones that do exist either are not supported or can get you flagged by the anti-cheat. Is there any push for Bazzite to potentially support the official launcher versions for these third-party, non-Steam related games?
That is a huge yes. Siege, unfortunately, will never be supported. It uses BattleEye, and it is Ubisoft's choice on whether to support it.
They accidentally turned it on for one day.
It was so nice. So good luck, on that one. But as far as launchers, right, a big part of what goes into Bazzite is making smart software choices. So we ship Lutris pre-installed in the image alongside Steam. That means in Lutris, I can click the plus button in the top left, I can search for Diablo 4, and it will go ahead and give me an installer that will install battle.net, put it in my library, and add it to Steam so I can start using it in game mode immediately.
Okay, so if you probably get this question a lot, if I was to build my own PC, what would be the most compatible hardware that you would say that would be most compatible with Bazzite, but also the most wide-ranging playable of games? Would it be? I know specifically that's Team Red or Team Green, but
I can give you a generic answer,
okay,
but I'll
awesome.
go as specific as possible, right?
All right.
Avoid Team Green if only if you want a stable image, right? We do the best we can to support them, but their drivers are what they are. We can only do as best as they do. So get as new of an AMD GPU as you can, whatever you want to afford. Intel or AMD CPU doesn't matter. Motherboard doesn't matter. But if you're going to do wireless internet, try to go for Intel Wi-Fi. The AX210 is bulletproof. Some of the newest AMD motherboards ship with I think it's a Qualcomm chip that we're waiting on support for in the kernel. So some people come to us like, my Ether doesn't work, my Wi-Fi doesn't work.
What about the E210, the new Intel one?
That's fully supported in the kernel too, so you're good there. That's really the main pitfalls. Outside of that, more obscure hardware, of course, like eye trackers or some of the RGB keyboards that don't have support in OpenRGB get a little iffy, but nothing that's going to stop you from playing a game.
And if you're willing to wait, there's the Framework Desktop that is coming later this year that will basically have out-of-the-box support for Bazzite. It will be the simplest on-ramp possible
Yes.
because of all of the work that we do and how we work with Framework. So
I can't talk about that one much, but what I did see at their launch event was very, very cool. And you know, as things improve, right, we'll get more attention from the industry. So one of the major wins that we had was Marvel Rivals. One of their most recent patch notes, Bazzite is actually listed as one of the bugs that they fixed as a target. It was low-resolution HUDs on high-performance computers running Bazzite. I believe their issue was they thought everyone on Linux was a Steam Deck and picked an 800p HUD no matter what your display was. So they fixed it, right? They paid attention and actually put it in their notes. That's what higher numbers can actually drive and get people to be interested in.
I'm big about math and numbers, right? Marvel, a Marvel property, mentioned us in their release notes. What does it take to get a company like, well, it's NetEase, a Marvel licensed thing to pay attention to Linux users?
$100
At
bucks
least
a month,
30,000
nerds?
of us. Did we get lucky? Absolutely. We make our own luck. We make our own luck. If we make numbers go up and to the right, we can get what we want. That's all we're trying to do. Sorry, I'm over talking.
no, you're good. Anybody have any other questions? Yell at me if I don't see ya.
One more.
All right.
Do you have Bazzite that works with iPads?
Unfortunately not. I don't know if that'll ever be a supported target, given that hardware's a little locked down, but ARM MacBooks, certainly an older x86
Or any
MacBook.
like touchscreen devices?
Oh yeah, so
moonlight to an iPad.
you could have Bazzite on another piece of hardware, like a home theater PC, and then install something called Moonlight on your iPad, which will stream it across your network to your iPad to play anywhere you want in your house.
I do it with my phone all the time. It's great.
It's very reliable.
Genuinely great.
Cool. Any other questions, anybody?
Yes,
No, thanks for
absolutely.
coming.
Woo!